understand that he's moving forward with hiring a counsel, and when we get back next week, I think the chairman will have an update with us on the progress that he's
Thank you.
making.
Is the word I'm getting, though, is that this is shaping up to be a Watergate.
I think that it may, and, you know, I'm going to show the chairman the respect that he has earned and let him be the one to say what's going to be coming next.
Sure, I understand. But obviously, do your constituents raise Fast and Furious to you?
Oh, yes. We talked about that and Solyndra and Planned Parenthood investigation yesterday when I was out with my constituents.
Oh, good. I want to have you back in the next month if you can do it, Congresswoman, to talk about that. That's something else you're doing that's very important. Godspeed. Right. Blackburn.house.gov, blackburn.house.gov. Thank you so much.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, there she goes. Man, that was a good interview. I like her. All right, we'll be right back with the next interview, another lady fighting for freedom.
You are listening.
A few calls in this short segment, and then we're going to get into Agenda 21. Since we had her on a few months ago, there have been a lot of big developments. Rosa Koire, people are waking up to it, A, but B, they're cutting down people's gardens in Tulsa, Oklahoma, saying you're not allowed to have that. There's no law. They're harassing Amish people. They're land grabbing. The carbon tax has gone in Australia. They're saying you're not allowed to criticize it. Speaking of Australia, Alex, calling from Australia, is on the air. Alex, welcome.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on the air from Australia.
Yeah, look, first-time caller. Loving your passion today, Alex. What can we say? The carbon tax. They had it on, interviewed some business owners on TV, and they said, oh, we're going to get compensated, rah, 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 and they haven't received any paperwork from the government and all this sort of stuff. But most of the people don't want it here.
What is it? 90% or so I've seen in the polls. But, hey, it doesn't matter. The bankers want it, so you're going to pay them.
Well, that's it. We don't have a choice, do we?
Well, you could take your country back, but you've thrown out a couple governments, and every new one you get just does it because they're bought and paid for. Just like the Republicans claim they're against Obamacare, written by the insurance companies, but then the Republican votes for it on the Supreme Court because they're bought and paid for. Anything else from Australia?
No, look, that's it. Look, loving your show. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Bit nervous, so... yeah,
don't be nervous with me, brother. God bless you. Keep spreading the word over there in Australia. I want to visit there someday. But with carbon taxes, they say non-essential air travel will not be allowed, and bureaucrats will decide. Just like the IRS will decide if you have the proper insurance. It's freedom. Let's talk to Matt in Texas, listening on 90.1 FM here in Austin. Go ahead, Matt. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Good. Hey, I had a question for you and kind of a side comment as well. They're both about the immunizations going on. The question is, I got a 3-year-old, and I guess other than homeschooling her, how can I get around not giving her these immunizations?
I get this call. I get this call every day when we take calls. So I get it 2 or 3 times a week, 4 times a week or so. I mean, it's constant. There is vaccine waiver forms. It's not even a law. It's a regulation. So they trick you and say, get the waiver form, but then they act like that doesn't exist. Type in right now to Google, folks, show him Texas vaccine waiver forms. Texas vaccine waiver forms. Every state has them. There it is, vaccine.info.net. Texas vaccine exemption information. You scroll down, it links to the state of Texas. And there it is, online requests made through the web submission form posted. And what government does, and there's the link, is when they don't have a law, they say, oh, sign this form. And then they administratively try to trick you and then later say they refuse. Just like the TSA announces, we're on highway checkpoints. We're not even bonded sworn police under the Constitution, but we're here, we're God, and we say we can go down your pants. See, I mean, it's just, I just had a congresswoman on telling you that. It's lawlessness. But they got badges, they got guns. Well, I could go put on an outfit and have, a badge and start pulling people over and writing them tickets. The point is that it's fraudulent. And you can debate the government at any level is fraudulent, but this isn't even government. It's lawlessness, sir. Does that answer your question?
That does, but I have one other comment for you. I work here in Austin for a medical software company, and I travel all over the U.S. implementing this software. And one thing that all these states do is they provide what's called vaccines for children. It's for Medicaid-type patients, even some cash pay, where they don't even have to pay for them. They just give them to these clinics and administer them. And that kind of gets you thinking, is this a way they're kind of rolling this out, these cancer immunizations?
Of course. And look at all the cancer rates and brain damage rates and little kids getting epilepsy, narcolepsy. I mean, it's frying their brains. And I got the Rockefeller Foundation documents where they talk about how they do it. There's a reason the general public can't tie their shoelaces. They've been lobotomized with chemical warfare agents. We'll be right back. Stay with us. In the last hour, we had Representative Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee on, who is fighting the TSA, impersonating federal and state police, engaging in violations of due process of law and the Fourth Amendment, and calling these crooks out is what's important. Now, of all the agendas, if you want to know why globally, whether it's Australia or the United States or England or Germany, going back to 1972, blood was taken from everyone at birth secretly, or the parents were told it was a blood test and it was put in the Cold Springs Harbor eugenics facility. It was sent to military bases. I was given documents 16 years ago by a nurse at an Army base in San Antonio who gave me documents. It was classified at the time, and we reported on it until about 4 years ago when they declassified a bunch of it. Now a bunch of lawsuits have been lost. The government's having to back off. They try to... When I told them, when I had my firstborn 10 years ago, I said, I know that's not the law. I know that goes to the health department and is saved and sent to a military base. And they're like, don't be a conspiracy theorist. And I said, you're not doing it. They said, it's the law. And I said, show me the law. I knew it wasn't. And they said, well, your child could have a blood disease. And I said, oh, I'll pay a private lab. Have that guy. I knew the psych warfare attack. Just like the father just called in and said, oh, I can't put my kid in school. It's the law. They got to take a shot. And I'm like, Texas immunization waiver. And it's a waiver to something that's not even a law. And I pulled it up and read it on air. It's all fraud. They have the same waiver thing in Australia, same thing in England. And they put up newscasts saying it's the law. It's fraud. It's criminal fraud. They take your blood. They try to forcibly inoculate. They're now shooting kids up all over the country without parental consent. You realize how criminal it is? But the cops are like, but it's the school doing it under a federal grant. And the grand juries are like, okay, it is illegal to do a medical procedure on a kid that's elective without the parents' consent. They got to get a form to go to the planetarium or the zoo or on a hike at a school function, but you can do this. Again, I harp on this because even though I say it every day, we had a caller saying, they're telling me my son's got to have shots. Well, because they're criminals. They've got the waiver form they're supposed to give you in their cabinet behind them. But they get money federally when they do this. So the reason I'm getting into this, before we go to our next guest, Rosa Koire of Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21, who joins us via video connection if you're watching on prisonplanet.tv. Skype means better audio for radio listeners. Just a little side nugget point is that it's Agenda 21 is the total takeover of the environment, of the land, of businesses, where the globalists write the laws and then selectively enforce them. Nothing to do with the environment. And we, of course, sell Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 at InfoWarsShop.com or Infowars.com. You get a free citizen rule book and bumper stickers and pins and a bunch of other stuff when you order anything at Infowars.com. And it supports this transmission, but that's a side issue. Every city council person, every cop every bureaucrat, every code enforcer, every county commissioner, every legislator and it's happening. Just since our guest was on a few months ago, the New York Times is saying, oh my gosh, people are waking up to Agenda 21, we better do something. And they're putting out primers for local government to know how to deal with you. Because this is UN global governance written by the major mega corporations. Just like CNBC said 2 weeks ago, we're ruled by mega banks' global governance through fraud. And they want to shut the economy down selectively. So this is the agenda. Now, you couple Agenda 21 with UNESCO, it deals with the medical tyranny, the gun ban that Hillary says Obama's going to sign via treaty. All of this is real and is happening. This is global governance. And her book is the best little 168-page primer that's well-written and well-documented on the full spectrum analysis of Agenda 21 that is about half of the New World Order agenda. This is the bureaucratic, carpet-bagging New World Order takeover in your local area. And I don't care whether you live in Germany or Australia or Canada, it is the exact same operation because it's a UN global governance code. Okay, so you get this to people and you educate yourself and others, it's game over. We can beat them because people understand 83% of the laws in the UK are now made by the EU bureaucracy unelected. It's the same thing. Now, joining us for the rest of the hour, we'll take calls coming up in about 25, 30 minutes. 800-259-9231 is Rosa Koire. ASA is the executive director of the Post-Sustainability Institute. She's a commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain valuation. That's how she learned it was Agenda 21. Her nearly 30 years of expert witness analyzing land use and property value in her position as San Francisco District Branch Chief of the California Department of Transportation enabled her to recognize the planning revolution sweeping the country. She was on the inside and saw it. While fighting to stop a huge redevelopment project in her city, she researched the corporate, political, financial interest behind it and found UN Agenda 21 impacting every aspect of our lives. UN Agenda 21, sustainable development, is a corporate manipulation using green mask of environmental concern to forward a globalist plan. Rosa speaks across the nation, including recently at the International Conference of Global Governance that included President Václav Klaus of the Czech Republic, Prime Minister John Howard of Australia. She's a regular blogger on her website, DemocratsAgainstUNAgenda21.com. Good to see it's bipartisan. Her new book, Behind the Green Mask, Agenda 21, is available at Infowars.com and on her site. Okay, we go to her now. Intro there. What is Agenda 21 for new listeners? Why is it important? And what are the new big developments? I mean, is it safe to say the battle is joined right now, Rosa?
You said it. I'm actually coming back from an East Coast tour, and I want you to know that the resistance is in gear and people are out there fighting all over the United States and across the world. So this is a very engaged fight, and we are going to win this. For people who don't know what Agenda 21 is, it's not what is Agenda 21, it's almost what isn't. And you're going to look long and hard to find anything now that isn't Agenda 21. It is the blueprint. It is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all plants, all minerals, all construction, all animals, all means of production, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. It is a completely comprehensive plan. It's global, and it's implemented locally. And that is where you're going to see it in your town, right there in your town. It is in every single town all across the United States and the world right now.
Well said. And now we're getting the announcements. They're going to tear up the old roads, shut down the countryside. Folks think they're going to run to the countryside and escape the Agenda 21 takeover. Explain what's really happening there.
Unfortunately, there really is nowhere to go. People come up to me after my speeches and they go, "Hey, Rosa, so where's the good place to go?" And I'm like, nowhere. You have to stay right where you are and fight it in your town because there is no Switzerland in this war. This is a global governance plan, and there is nowhere to go. So what you have to do is recognize it, because it doesn't come with flashing lights, and it's not called Agenda 21. That's how they can say that, oh, you're kind of crazy or a tinfoil hat when you bring it up. But the fact is, what it looks like in your town is your roads being pulverized in your suburban and rural areas. It looks like the closure of post offices and schools out in the rural areas. It looks like your comprehensive or master plan, Vision 2020, Vision 2035, Our Town 2050. That's what it looks like. It looks like smart meters. It looks like smart water, gas, and electric meters. It looks like well monitoring. It looks like closure of roads that go into your rural and wild forest lands. It looks like you not being able to get out into the countryside anymore. And it looks like high-density urban development paid for with your tax dollars right there in the center of your town. This is a global governance plan. It is designed to create a parallel government that is actually going to destroy your opportunity to have any impact at all on what goes on in your government. This is a takeover. It's a totalitarian